Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. In today's video we're going to look at getting started with the Gloomspite Gitz in Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry, using the Grinkrak's Looncourt warband from Warhammer Underworlds as a starting point to build up a full functional 1000 point warband from. Grinkrak's Looncourt are a band of Moonclan Grots who are on a quest to drive intruders out of their native Nullwood. It's unclear how the Grinkrak came up with the idea of dubbing other Grots Loon Knights in order to get them to do his bidding, but the Loon Boss's strategy has been shockingly effective. He doesn't really believe in the whole thing and is surprised as anyone when his Loon Knights succeed at even or survive a quest even more, but his skill at oratory and consistency at locating stupefying mushrooms has kept Grots flocking to his banner. Today's video is sponsored by Gap Games, a fantastic miniature wargaming store in Queensland, Australia. They stock a wide variety of miniature wargames from all things Games Workshop to some of my personal favourites, Conquest, The Last Argument of Kings, and all things Modifius wargames as well. Use our affiliate code in the link below to help support both this fantastic store and the channel as well. And so, the first model in our initial box set is of course Grinkrak the Great himself. This loon boss has a 2-inch range, which if you'll watch the channel enough, know that we think is great in Warcry. This just generally means that you can stand outside the more generic 1-inch range of a lot of melee weapons or force your opponent to have to move attack rather than just launch 2 attacks into you. 4 attacks at strength 3, 2-4 on the damage is pretty decent. It is what you're going to expect from Grots, and it does have 16 health, and a defense of 4 is nice as well. Now we do have a large amount of abilities for this model, and what's actually special is we've got 2 reactions, because first of all we're going to have the generic reaction for the Gloomspite Gitz, which is Pile On, where you can have your friends sort of come in and help you. And then you've also got Tough Nut, which is specific to Grinkrak's Looncourt, where a fighter can make this reaction before they're targeted by a melee attack action, and you get to count up to 2 crits as just regular hits. This is a super powerful reaction. Now we then got a bunch of abilities. Backstabbing Mob will allow us to get some extra attacks if we've got visible fighters nearby. And the Question Knight ability is a double specific to Grinkrak. Until the end of this fighter's activation, after an enemy fighter is taken down by a melee action from them, you can make a bonus move or a bonus attack as well. We then have Enthusiastic Dubbin, where you pick a visible friendly fighter with the Grinkrak Looncourt rune mark within 3 inch of the fighter that we're having, and then the fighter suffers impact damage but can immediately activate after. And this is for a double, so regular Inspiring Presence that you can do this without taking damage is a triple, so you got this for a double with a little bit of damage being inflicted on your own fighter. Stab 'em Good is a generic Gloomspite Gitz hero ability where you get to add 1 to the attack characteristic of melee attack action by visible friendly fighters within 6. And then we've also got the quad of I'm the Boss now, Stab 'em Good as well, which until the end of the battle round you get to add the value of this ability to the attacks characteristic of melee attack actions made by friendly fighters with Gloomspite Gitz faction rune mark within 6 inch of them. And lastly, Sneaky Stab is another sort of damage increase buff that is available to all of the Gloomspite Gitz in the warband. After that, we then have Grib, the Wonky Lance. Now, this is probably my favourite named model of all of the knights we're going to get, and he is a pretty decent fighter. A 2-inch range, 3 attacks at strength 4 with 2-5 on the damage. You've got 15 wounds and defense of 5, which is really solid. You've got that 8-inch move as well with the fly keyword rune mark on the model as well, enabling you to ignore all vertical movements, which is pretty cool. Now, the sort of lore behind this is your squig doesn't actually fly, it just bounces so high it pretty much flies. And then so we go into a bunch of the abilities that we've already talked about. You've got the reactions that we've mentioned already with Grinkrak. But then we've got our own special ability with Grib the Wonky Lance called Madcap Destruction. This is a triple. We get to roll a dice and this fighter makes a bonus move action up to double the value of the result. And then if the fighter finishes within 1 inch, you pick one of those fighters and inflict a number of damage points equal to the value of the ability as a result. So pretty cool way to get some extra damage off turn, to get extra sort of damage out of a fighter that's already going to be one of our harder hitters. Next we have Skulko and Pronk. These two grots are the ones wielding the Squigapult. This is a 3 to 20 inch range weapon, which in Warcry is just massive range wise. 2 attacks and strength 4, 1 4 on the damage, and then a few melee attacks in there of very little worth. You've got defense 4 and 12 wounds, so it is slightly more survivable than your average grot. I mean, technically it is 2 grots, so that's probably why. But other than that, this is just going to be a way to provide you with some decent range firepower for your force without having to spend an awful lot of points. It's going to have all the generic abilities for the grots, like Sneaky Stab. It's not really going to have a big way to increase its range output, but it is still going to provide you with a model that can sit back, sort of hold treasure, hold objectives, that's not going to have to go out and play too much on the rest of the game. And next we have Pokin Snark. Pokin Snark is slightly better than your average grot. 8 health and defense 4 is nice. You've also got a 2 inch range, which is great, and 3 attacks and strength 4 with 2/4 on the damage. Other than that, he is just a regular grot. He's going to provide you with an extra body to go around and do all the bidding of Grinkrak the Great. Snorbo the Spore is next, and this is pretty much the last of the sort of special grots in the Warband. Snorbo the Spore is the herald of the Warband. You've got a 5 inch range attack with your sort of spores that you can punch out, which is pretty cool, and you've got a few attacks in melee. 6 health, defense 4, which is slightly better than your average. But you've got your own special ability with Snorbo the Spore as well, and that's sort of what's going to set him apart. And this is a triple called Sound the Charge, where until the end of the battle round, add half the value of his ability to the move characteristic of nearby grots. So a great way to get some extra movement on what can be a relatively slow warband. 4 is generally your average movement, with some models even having 3, like the Squigapult. You do have 8 inch on some of your fighters as well, so getting some extra movement really does speed them up to some of the faster things in the game. Moving on, we then have one of our 2 sort of really generic grots in Moonface Nags. Really, there is not too much to say about it. He is just a body that's going to provide you with just that on the table. 3 attacks at strength 2, 1/3 on the damage, 6 health, defense 4 is nice to have, but he is just another body. And the same can really be said about Pointy Burke. You do have a slightly different damage profile. 2 attacks at strength 2, 1/4 on your damage. You do have a 2 inch range, which is nice, especially for such sort of flimsy fighters. That can be the difference between them living and dying, only getting attacked once by the enemy. And so where to go next, and the first thing we're going to look at is bringing some cave squeaks into the force. These provide you with a pretty solid fighter, 3 attacks at strength 4, 1/4 on the damage, and 4 defense with 10 wounds. For what they cost, they are great for the warband. They do have the beast rune marks. This is going to stop them being able to carry treasure, but it won't stop them helping contest for objectives. And so, of course, with Cave Squeaks, we're then going to have a Squig Herder as well. The Squig Herder is a generic grot at best, so you still have all these sort of abilities you would expect for any of your grots to have, like backstabbing mob and all of that. But you've also got its own special triple called Go That Way. This allows you to pick a friendly beast within 4 inch and give them a bonus move. A cool way to get your Squigs into the action after you've activated your Squig Herder, especially getting some extra move. They are relatively slow, so you could use this to get that extra movement, to get them into combat, to force your opponent to either have to attack the Squig, or potentially get you to be within range to go move, attack with your Squig. And lastly, we've gone with a Stabber with Barbed Net. Once again, this is just going to be a generic grot profile, 6 health there on the Stabber with the Barbed Net, and you're going to have a defense of 3 because you've not got a shield. You do have 3 attacks at strength 2 with 1/2 on the damage, however, but you've got your own special ability, which is your Throwing Net ability, your Barbed Net ability. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 3 inch on a 3+. That fighter cannot make move actions or disengage. The fact it's move and disengage can really tie opponents down. It can be such a useful thing, especially if you are maybe trying to protect some of your fighters because you are so frail. This can be a great way to sort of force your opponent to rethink how they're going to have to try and tackle you, or potentially just scupper them entirely. And so our list today is going to have its hero as Grinkrak the Great. Now, moving on to fighters, we then have Grib the Wonky Lance, Skullco and Pronk. We then have Poke and Snark, who have actually given the Divine Blessing of Heroism. This is going to allow them to activate with the Inspiring Presence ability, which will be cool for getting multiple of your grots to attack one after the other. Snorbo the Spore is next, and then Pointy Burke and Moon-Faced Nags. We then have the Squig Herder and 2 Cave Squigs, and lastly the Stabber with Barbed Net. We hope that this video was helpful in getting you started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry, and that it was able to give you some ideas and inspiration to start your own force in the game. If you have any other questions at all, please comment them down below and we'll endeavour to get back to you. And while you're there, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe and join our Discord server as well, linked in the video's description, for all our future Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry content.